So you want to go to Japan. Is it also safe to assume that you're also a big weeb? Because come on, it's there. It's a big correlation. If you're a weeb, you probably want to go to Japan. And you want to see all the things that you've seen in the series, you know? Maybe eat at a cafe, but not just a normal cafe. Make it a Maid cafe. Visit some parks and landmarks that were in some of your favorite series so that you can feel like you're actually a part of their world. I can't blame you for wanting to do this. I mean, hell, I even did this myself. Hi guys, I'm Bayfun, and today I wanted to talk about something that I did on my trip to Japan, and that was visit a lot of real life locations that were showcased in anime. Because you know, I'm like a few steps above parasocial, I guess. I'm attached to these fictional characters like they're real people. But in my defense, I think there are so many worse hobbies out there, so come on. So for starters, let's jump in with where I was staying, because that was Akihabara. Or well, right next to Akihabara. It was more like a 10-minute walk over to the main center hub, but regardless, I was there at all times. Because there's this iconic, legendary, famous show that takes place here, and that's Steins Gate. Did I use enough adjectives to describe it? Because if not, I can chuck in a few more. Steins Gate is one of, if not my favorite series of all time. I love how grounded it is, the science behind it, and I love every single character in this. So to say that this trip to Japan wasn't influenced by my love of Steins Gate would be a complete lie. Because I took full advantage of being here. I say nearly because I forgot to pack my white lab coat. But then again, I felt like it might have been a little bit too corny to walk around wearing a lab coat at all times. But even though I regret it, I already missed my chance, so better luck next time. And to start off my trip here, there was the Radio Kaikon building, a place that's heavily showcased in the series and is known as the location of where Makisa Kurisu got stabbed. First thing I noticed when I got here was that it felt quite a lot smaller than what I expected it to be. And this is a trend that goes along for a lot of these locations. This main strip here is pretty thin, and actually it pretty much only accommodates people, so when cars go through here, it's kind of a mess. But regardless, when you go into the building, it's completely different than what you remember in the series. I mean, it doesn't have those staircases anymore, it's just escalators. It had a complete redesign a few years ago, so it's definitely not the same building, but they try and keep some of the same mementos and things like that. I mean, on the top floor where, you know, the stabbing's supposed to happen, they keep a Steins Gate vending machine there. One that sells a drink that's based off the gel nanas. So of course, I went up to the top and bought myself one, and I was greeted with a bit of a surprise. This shit is frozen. What the fuck? Yeah, that shit was fucking frozen solid. It was a goddamn rock. I was extremely disappointed by this fact. I mean, really. I guess this shows that Steins Gate's probably not as popular now as it was quite a few years ago, but still, come on. No one has gotten a drink from this vending machine? I didn't even want to lick the little top of this because I was scared that it was gonna be rotten or some shit like that. I was just so disappointed that I came all the way up here and just got this thing that was just like, meh. I was scared to try again for another drink because I didn't want to spend more money. I mean, these drinks weren't exactly the cheapest ones out there. But yeah, next up is the main center road of Akiba. Again, it's changed quite a bit from the series because that took place in like 2010, and over here my videos and pictures are from March, April 2023. I try to replicate this visual novel shot as accurately as possible here. And I do think it looks pretty similar. I mean, come on, it's probably one of the most iconic angles. It's not like I can miss it. Another location that's like one of the most iconic parts of Steins Gate is the shrine in Akiba, because it's probably one of the most out of place locations in the entire district here. I remember in one of my first days in Japan, I accidentally stumbled upon it without knowing that this was the exact same shrine. It was dark and I was mostly looking for that little alley that has all of those weird vending machines and things like that. And while I wasn't certain that this was the same shrine, I still took pictures of it just in case. And then when I came back another day just to find the actual address of it, turned out it was the same spot as before. And again, it looked remarkably small. Like, damn, it looks completely different than how it was in the series. But it's nice and quaint, and not a lot of people are crowding this spot. I mean, if anything, I was the only person here for like quite a while. I feel like the only time I saw another foreigner here was when I saw a couple that was basically following a guide for locations of Steins Gate. So at the very least, I knew that I wasn't the only one doing this little pilgrimage here. I just wish that I would catch a glimpse of one of the shrine maidens, you know, if they were actually here.
Where are shrine maidens? Holy cow!
And moving on from this, you can probably say like, hey, this is the spot where Mayuri died. And then here, this is the spot where Mayuri died. And on one of my last days staying in Akihabara, I decided to just grab my things and just man up and make my way over to where the future Gadget Lab actually was located. It's a little block that's not too hidden, but it's not in your face about it. There, I found the park where Okabe usually hangs out at, and right across from it, the lab, and where Mr. Braun's CRT shop was located. And I would say these were really normal places. There was nothing very special about them at all. They didn't even resemble how they looked in the series. But at the very least, knowing that these were the places it took place in was cool. I still wish that they kept some of the pieces that they used to have for like older promotions and stuff like that. Like, I know for a fact that they used to have vending machines with Kurisu and Mayuri here. But well, not everything lasts here. I also spent a lot of time in the Crossfield building, so that's a place that I'll remember for quite a long time. And that means that almost every day I passed up the same staircase as this iconic scene. But I would say the best part out of visiting all of these real life locations of Steins Gate was visiting May Queen, which in real life is called Maylish Cafe. And now for starters, yes, this is a maid cafe. A place that I dread like the goddamn plague. Because this kind of vibe isn't something that I really seek out. So I can tell you, I was pretty on edge before coming into this place. I didn't even want to go into this place for starters. But I knew that on my very last day, it was either I go in here and experience this, or I don't get a chance to at all and I'll just regret it. So again, I manned up and I decided to go in. And I would say that if you're a fan of Steins Gate in any regard, in any degree, you should come to Maylish. Because goddamn, the second that we walked in, they instantly recognized that I was a Steins Gate fan. They gave me a special seat. They basically gave us a special menu. They gave us special treatment, attention, everything. Gotta be honest, it was very, very nice. Something that I would say about this place is that it's a normal maid cafe. It just embraces that it was a part of this anime. So if you want to take pictures with the maids, it's gonna cost you money. And there's a lot of people that come here to converse with the maids. If you're a foreigner like me, then you're gonna have quite a bit of trouble here. I only managed to snap a picture of me in this place because I didn't want to record or be rude or do anything like that. But I will tell you, it was a fantastic experience coming here. 100%. They did the series justice. They knew just by the way that I was like shy, that I was a fan of the series. And so they definitely got into like this role play mode of being 100% into the act. My embarrassment was completely outweighed by how fantastic I thought everything was. And they knew that I was just eating this shit up. I just about lost it when the main maid that was serving us did the whole, Chinubio thing. But I think I really want to go back to this place. I mean, they even gave me one of these cards that goes like, hey, fill this out next time you visit. It was one of the best experiences I have ever had anywhere. It felt like you were walking onto the set of your favorite live action series and just seeing it unfold right before your eyes. Cannot recommend enough. So here we can move on from Steins Gate and into something that I think a lot more people would find legendary and incredible and amazing. And that's Neon Genesis Evangelion. Because on my little trip to Japan, I wandered into this place called Hakone. Well, not exactly wandered, I had to take a bullet train to get here. I knew quite a few things about this place, but I didn't know everything. Like for starters, this was the location where Neon Genesis Evangelion takes place. Hideki Anno saw this place and he was like, yeah, Tokyo 3 can take place here. And I learned the hard way when everything just kind of hit me all at once. There are places on top of Mount Hakone next to Lake Ashi where you go in and it looks very similar to how it looked like in Eva. Or they have some memorabilia, or they're selling some goods to the side. This is a place that, again, heavily indulges in the fact that a very famous series takes place here. And I just wandered up here without knowing this fact. And there are side-by-side comparisons to how things look like in real life than how they look like in the anime. All of this accumulating to, at the station, having an Eva store. And not a Radio Eva store, nothing like that. A normal Evangelion store where they sell memorabilia and things like that. I already made a video about my whole Hakone trip and how incredible that was, but that was very fun. Pretty much no matter where you're gonna go in Tokyo, at the very least, you're probably gonna encounter a place or a location that has been featured in a series. No matter where you go, there's a potential that your favorite characters were right there too. And I don't know about you, but I think that's a pretty awesome thing. But with that, I think that wraps up my thoughts on visiting real world places that are featured in anime. And I'll leave this pretty much open to you. Like, if you go to Japan, or if you've gone to Japan, where would you go based off of your favorite shows? What are some landmarks, buildings, parks that are important to you? I would love to know what these are. Please leave it down in the comments below. And with that, as always, I was Bayfond, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.